We Care concert. What's the concept, along with Amnesty International?
Well, let me start there. Let me just say that this is, the Hip Hop Caucus has been called the 21st century version of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or in that process. And so in that vein, we are obviously mobilizing and organizing to get young people involved in an engaged democracy. And so it's exciting. At the same time, as you know, and I said this before, too many times when we've gone to the peace movement or peace rallies, it's been mostly all white. And when I've gone to the immigration rallies, it's mostly been all brown. When I've gone to some of the Katrina rallies or the police brutality rallies, it's been all black. And I have said numerous times that we cannot solve any of our problems if we have a segregated progressive movement. We can't take on any of these things, these cronies in office, these hustlers who are in the corporate sectors. We can't take them on if we ourselves have a segregated progressive movement. So I'm very pleased that one people who heard that plea was Amnesty International USA. And from Larry Cox, the ED then, to so many of the staff, they recognized that we had to come together. And so they didn't just move the Hip Hop Caucus to a kiddie table, but put us there to recognize that we are doing some phenomenal work, obviously, in New Orleans and in our work with the Iraqi refugees, and they partnered with us. And I think that's important because I think if we continue this model when some more established organizations are working with new organizations, then I think that we can become a much more flexible movement, a much more fluid movement, a movement that can obviously cross over cultural and racial and different lines, gender types of lines. And I think most importantly, what this does is it shows that we are becoming more unified. It took us a long time to get there, but we're becoming much more unified. So that's powerful. That is a new story. What you are breaking is such a huge moment in our movement. If this can be continued in Oakland and Detroit and in New Orleans and D.C., all around this country, if our movement can become more together, that would be powerful. The second thing is that obviously, the reason we say that we care, too many times the lies have been told that my generation, the hip-hop generation, the post-right generation does not care. And that's a lie. And I think that one of the things that we do things differently. We might not do the same demonstrations. We might not do the same type of mobilizations, but we definitely care. And I think that this is a magnitude because we have to care. Because if we don't get it right 8 years into the 21st century, there will not be a 22nd century. And so we have to care. And so we are showing that we not only do we care, but we can get involved in this process. So on the 5th year anniversary of the war, you have organizations that are finally coming together to unify themselves. You have really getting down to the human toll, really love. That's really a bottom line, that we are not so heady in our movement, so stubborn to be this right, but really now coming down to the love factor and say that while we are right, while this war is wrong, we must still be concerned about humanity. Because when babies are dying in New Orleans and they're dying in Houston, and you have mothers who are prostituting themselves in Syria, then something is wrong. And so we must deal with that. And so what you see now is us coming together to fix that. So it's exciting. It's exciting what is happening. And I would just encourage everybody to obviously visit hiphopcaucus.org website to support it, but most importantly in that process to definitely recognize that this is a new moment in our movement. Something is happening now, right now, that is tremendous, and it is something that we must capture and move forward to really begin to dismantle the structures of oppression in this country.
You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio. We're speaking with Reverend Lennox Yearwood. He's the president of the Hip Hop Caucus. They've got a very important event happening next week in Washington, D.C. on the eve of the 5th anniversary of this anniversary. That's a hard word to use because one often times thinks of anniversaries as happy events. We should, in a way, be commemorating the loss, as you said, of 1 million Iraqis, perhaps, so many U.S. soldiers, and one thinks about all the families who have been affected by what's been going on. I wonder, Reverend, if there are stories. You've been traveling the globe. I'm wondering, you spent time in Jordan. I'm wondering if there are stories about specific people that you meet on the road, that you meet there, the refugees, that you take back to the young people as a way of trying to make this link that you've been talking about, cross-cultural and sort of a unifying operation.
Well, the first thing, I'll tell you this, when I was in Jordan, one of the funniest things was that when I first got off the plane, there was a little store that had a Tupac T-shirt. in Jordan, and they had a lot of the CDs and things. So from a cultural standpoint, they're playing the same music across the Atlantic, and that was one thing. But I think that the one thing that touched me the most was actually a young mother named Bethina, and Bethina was her house was quote unquote bombed incorrectly, and she lost her husband. And her leg was blown off, and her stomach was blown, and we sent a note to her house that said, "We apologize for doing that." And she looked at me, and she had been taken to Jordan. It's important to note that there are certain unique things that are going on, that if you are an Iraqi refugee in Jordan, you can't work, you're not allowed to work. They just changed some of the rules that your children could go to school part-time. And it's a very difficult situation. And I came in there, and I was just so devastated because her brother was there and her sister was there in the hospital room. And they said, you know, we don't hate Americans. We just don't like your government. And I was just thinking to myself, honestly, my goodness. I mean, I just couldn't imagine having somebody destroy my country, destroy my home, blow off my leg, blow off my stomach. This is my 20s, and I can still have the heart to say, I don't hate you. It was amazing. But on top of that, you know, one thing that she said, I was there actually, and some of the ladies who were there, we left because she wanted to show her wound. And then the men came into the room, and some ladies were crying, and she told them, don't cry. We don't need your tears. We need your strength. So this cannot happen to more women like this. Life is terrible, but if you can go back and just have the courage to stand up and speak truth to power, you'll make my life better. And that was one of the pieces there that was just amazing to me, because she said, I don't need your tears. I need your strength. And I think that right now is a time that what we need to do as a country, what we need to do as a people, we need to gather our strength together so we can deal with this. I tell young college students all the time that those who are now seniors in college will have to always deal with the fact of the matter that while they were matriculating through college, over 1 million Iraqis were exterminated while they were in college. Now, you're going to have to deal with that at some point in time. That when you tell your kids about this time and place in history, you have to deal with that. And so, no, you're right. This is something that we have to link the dots, and I think it's happening. And so we're trying to do that because obviously we are trying to use our cultural expression to form our political experience, because we recognize how hard it is. We just don't call a rally and everybody's going to show up. We reckon we must go to the people and go into their neighborhoods and do these things to inform them. And that's what's going on, not only on the 18th in D.C. because of what D.C. is, but we will continue to do that around the country as well.
All right. Well, we are absolutely delighted to have you with us today, Reverend Lennox Yearwood. The information is crucial. The work you're doing as the president of the Hip Hop Caucus has all of us having a little more hope, and we hope we can continue the dialogue.
No, thank you so much. And together, we will see a fine end, and together we will see victory, because the people united will never be defeated.
Oh, well, thanks for being with us. You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica.